the weeds, you cut down the trees. We call something slash and burn. You burn, and then you cultivate the seeds. And so when it comes for husbanding the farm to ensure that it bears fruit, you cannot sit aloof because you have put in all your energy. I mean, from 2018, when I became the chairman of the party, to 2020 elections, beyond 2020 to 2021, 2022, for the reorganization of the party, I've put in a lot of energy, a lot of effort. And so my heart is there. I mean, they say where your treasure is, that is where your heart is. Right. And I feel that having invested so much of my energy, my resources, my everything, I cannot sit aloof. I can only help in joining the laborers on the field to ensure that we work on the field and get a very good harvest.
Right.
And for me, that is my motivation. So my motivation is that there are people who have taken over and they are working. And I cannot sit aloof.
Right.
Again, we must also realize that late President J.J. Rawlings, he became president at a very early age. Right. So when he even ended his 8 years tenure of office, he had so much energy in him that it was difficult for you to confine him, to the house and say he's a statesman, he's a former president, so he shouldn't. So he was always eager to, join the fray and support. I think I still have some energy. I'm fairly youthful, and so I can still put the energies that I have, to the disposal of the party, and help. So that is perhaps what is motivating me. And finally, the motivation is Ghana, to see Ghana, progress. The Ghana I see today is not a Ghana that I envisage that after almost 8 years of MPP government we should be. And so I want to paraphrase and borrow the word from the former Second Lady of Ghana, Mrs. Matilda Amisata, her famous statement, "Is this Ghana?" And for me, I keep on asking, is this Ghana?
Right.
Is it the Ghana that we all yearn to have? Is this the Ghana that we left in the hands of Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia and the MPP?
Right.
Certainly, that is not the Ghana we all envisage. So we all have to come together, irrespective of whatever has happened, to work assiduously towards building the Ghana that we want.
Okay. Let me quickly pick your thoughts on yesterday's media encounter, the affair that happened at Kempinski Hotel here in Accra, where the former president met a section of the Ghanaian media in order to tell them his vision for this country and to take some questions and answer those questions. Do you have any brief thoughts you want to share on that before we go ahead to talk about the reason why you're here, which is what is the new NDC presenting or offering the people of Ghana? So your brief thoughts about yesterday's event.
First of all, let me start by commenting on the remarks made by the president of the Ghana Journalists Association.
Okay.
I would say that Nana Akufo-Addo and the MPP rode on the shoulders of the media to win power. From the statement yesterday, you could deduce that they've used them and dumped them.
Right. And
today, the champions of press freedom and all those who came in and promulgated the repeal of the criminal libel laws and seditious laws and all those things. Today, the media are crying that under their rule, the media has come under intense attack.
And you thought that was quite revealing?
Harassment.
Right.
And intimidation. And then I thought it was very revealing. And again, the very people who rode on the shoulders of the media are running away from the media because Nana Akufo-Addo, who used to organize media encounter for the past 6 years or so, has not been able to put himself before the media to account for his stewardship. and he's virtually been hiding from the media. So it was very important that President John Dramani Mahama, our former president, indicated that he's not going to behave like his successor, and that the media encounter that he's having is not going to be a 9-day wonder, and that he'll go the long haul with the media. So at least this romance with the media must be encouraged. And I think that the media must see in President John Dramani Mahama a very veritable ally who can walk the talk with them and ensure that he, as a media person, and refreshing to hear that he's still a journalist in good standing,
Right.
As far as the Ghana Journalists Association is concerned. I believe that it will not be far-fetched if the media realizes that it is always better late than never than to come back and rekindle the marriage and ensure that one of their own who recognizes their value, recognizes the critical role that they play as the fourth estate of the realm, are given adequate protection under the Constitution and support to give them unfettered access to do their work. So for me, that statement by the president of the GJA
for you was one of the high points.
Was very revealing from that point.
Okay.
Now, on the part of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, let me commend him first of all for his tenacity, his strength, his stamina. Yes, last week I told you that President Mahama is on top of issues. And if I was a prophet, I would have been proven right that this is a man who did not look into any book, who did not make any reference, who did not put any of his former ministers and others behind him to be passing notes to him, reminding him, but demonstrated that he's mentally sharp, alert, he had the capacity to govern, he is experienced, and his vision, there's clarity in his vision and where he wants to lead this country to. So that's also a very important point that I want to make.
Okay.
Then the third point I want to make is the fact that he set the tone for the media encounter, and that tone was about change. I've listened to a lot of commentary and a lot of discussions, but we appear to be losing focus on that very important ingredient,
Which is
the time for change is now, and change is coming. So for the NDC, our battle cry for 2024 election is about change. Change should be at the center of all what we are doing. Because he started by saying that he wants to reset the country. He wants to build the Ghana we want. But you cannot reset the country. You cannot build the Ghana we want if you do not get the change that you are looking for. So for me, the first step towards everything that we want is to talk about change. And so change must resonate and must reverberate throughout everything that we do. And so for the communicators of NDC, for organizers of NDC, for the ordinary members of the NDC, for the generality of Ghanaians, the clarion call is for change to be effected.
the MPP says change to go back to the old. Why?
Well, then people themselves are campaigning on change. They themselves.
No, they're campaigning on continuity.
I'm saying that
they want to break the
Dr.
age.
Baumia is talking about changing everything. This is what is being done now. But when you vote for me and I become president, I'll change it and do this. So he himself is campaigning on change. Okay. Everything that he says, toll booths has been abolished. But when you vote for me to become president, I will reintroduce toll booths. Is it not about change? Everything that Dr. Bamia is talking about is about change. So he himself...
Yeah, but he has to prove...
he
has to prove that he's his own man.
He himself...
He has to prove that he's not a continuation. You people say the man is a continuation of Nanado. Now the man wants to prove to you that I want to be my own man. I have my own vision. I have my own plans. I have my own ideas. Now you're saying that that one too is a problem. It means that he wants change.
I am saying that.
So which is which?
You see, you were talking about continuity.
Is this change? Yes.
And I'm saying that the man is disengaging himself from everything that he is supposed to have been done with the president, because he partnered His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo to become the president of the Republic of Ghana.
But
he was put in charge of the management of the economy.
Yes.
And he says that, look, the dollar, the CD to dollar,
the fundamentals are weak. The exchange rate
so
will expose
now the CD has been let loose.
Yes.
But you wait. As the chairman of the economic management team, I can't do anything about it now.
Because he's not the president.
But wait. Look, he has been put in charge of the economic management team. We call something called presidency. The presidency is not about one person.
Okay.
The presidency is an institution. And so the presidency is made up of the president, his vice president, and his team of cabinet ministers. They form the presidency. So he's part of the whole architecture of the presidency and cannot extricate himself from blame.
Okay.
I mean, people must understand it this way.
Okay.
In that context, Dr. Bawumia cannot disengage himself from the abysmal performance of the government, of which is the number 2. And indeed, anytime the president exits the country and travels, he becomes the number 1. Which means that between the number 1 and the number 2, there is very little, between them. Because when you go to cabinet, and I have been in the cabinet before, the president sits like this. The vice president sits closer to any time the president is even tired. And in some cases, the president will defer the chairing of cabinet proceedings to the vice president and say that, look, these are the issues, but you take them through. So you see, and I remember very well, the President Mahama, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as vice president then, and President John Evans Atta-Mills as president. I attend cabinet meeting as local government minister. When the issues are brought and we start cabinet meeting, sometimes the president sits and allows the vice president to navigate the meeting and to more or less try and coordinate how the meeting is organized for and on behalf of the president. So even at cabinet level, the vice president is given a lot of prominence in it. So this whole idea that, I don't have the capacity, I don't have the power, meanwhile there are institutions that have been established under the Constitution that gives certain legal authority to the vice president. For instance, the police council is chaired by the vice president. Yes. But the vice president said that challenges facing the police, he will run away from it and say that he's not the president and that the president is the commander-in-chief. So what is constitutionally ascribed to him as the chairman of the police council, he can't take responsibility for what happens in the police. He cannot run away from it.
Okay.
So those arguments that, he wants to be his own man and he wants to be like this and this, look, I told you that
you say it's neither here nor there.
We should stop the cherry picking.
Okay.
And he should own up that he's part of the presidency.
Okay.
And the failure of Nana Akufo-Addo government or presidency is partly to be blamed for that failure, because they take collective successes and collective failures.
Okay.
And that is what the whole issue of game, teamwork and game theory talks about.
0244-262-314, 0244-263-314. Do you agree or disagree with the former national chairman of the NDC, that the Honorable Samuel Ofosu Ampofo? What do you make of the things he said so far? Send us a WhatsApp message on 0244-262-314. Let's hear your thoughts via that number that we've just advertised on your screen. So now, perhaps the former president encountered the media yesterday, then dovetails us into some of the issues that you want to talk about, which is what is the new NDC going to be like? Help Ghanaians get a mental picture of how different you intend to be from the current government where we currently have. For which reason Ghanaians don't just go and say we just want change for the sake of it, but it's got to be change, which is got to be material change or tangible change in their lives. What is going to be different about the new NDC?
Well, first of all, we don't have anything called new NDC.
Right.
NDC is NDC. But President Muhammad has said that having, what he cherished to do was to continue the solid policies, infrastructure, expansion, and all those things that he wanted to do. And he spoke about the expansion in the area of port expansion, airport, harbors, energy infrastructure, education infrastructure, building of e-blocks, expansion of tertiary education, and so on and so forth. And said that he wanted to build on what he had achieved for the less than 4 years that he became a president, because you know that for about 8 months we were in Supreme Court. So effectively, he governed for about 3.5 years or thereabout.
Okay.
And then he was not given the opportunity to complete that vision. He's gone back about 7.5 years now. He sat back. He's looked at the way the country has been governed. He sees the extreme poverty, which was amplified by the recent Statistical Service study
findings,
which says that poverty, multi-generational poverty is about over 40% of Ghanaians are experiencing multi-dimensional poverty. And so it shows to a large extent the impact and output of the programs that Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia has implemented over the period of time. You see, I have heard Dr. Bawumia pontificating about 33 policies or thereabouts that
they've rolled out.
Yes. I am a student of public policy. And so I understand how the policy cycle works. So it is about first looking at the policy environment, formulating the ideas, doing stakeholder engagement, implementation, and then evaluation, and then plowing back into the policy cycle again to look at the benefits and the fallouts and to input them to better the policies. So in policy, we have two main areas that we look at. We look at the policy outcome and the policy impact. So today, if you have implemented economic policies, and the survey shows that a lot more people have been pushed into the poverty bracket, that it means that your policy impact and outcome has been very negative. So you can tout and talk about the policies, but what is the impact and what is the outcome? So, for instance, if you say that I am implementing a policy on one district, one factory, the policy outcome is that by the time you implement the program, you might have generated a lot more employment for people in the industry subsector of the economy. And so by so doing, if a lot more people are employed, then because of the increase in employment, there will be reduction in unemployment,
right,
and then it will address the issue of poverty. If you decide to implement a policy of one village, one dam, the essence is that that policy will improve on all-year farming. And so agricultural productivity will go up. Food prices will come down.
Okay.
Nutritional level of the people will go up. And so you look at the policy outcome and then the impact of the policy on the people.
Right.
So we have come to a point where we must subject Dr. Bawumia to strict proof and to put him to the acid test and say that it is not just about, pontificating on policies, sloganeering, one district, one factory, one village, one dam. What has been the impact? What is the impact of one village, one dam, and then planting for food and jobs? What has been the outcome in terms of food production, and what has been the impact in terms of its reduction on poverty, malnutrition, and making food availability on the table for the ordinary Ghanaian? That is where the debate must be shifted to, because otherwise we will allow them to go scot-free and come again and start one laptop, one student. Then they say it. Oh, we have implemented one laptop, one student. Then people go and interrogate and realize that there are a lot of the secondary schools that do not even have internet connectivity.
That's true.
But they are paying for internet services for that project. So Ghanaians, we must, for this election, let us settle down and look at the issues one by one, and look at the policies, look at the level of implementation, look at the outcome, and look at the impact. So President Mahama was trying to lay this bare and say that poverty is on the ascendancy. There is prices of food, and other agricultural derivatives are going up. And then there is mass unemployment. So in the face of all those one district, one factory, one village, one dam, planting for food and jobs, and all the one you can talk about, what is the impact? What is the outcome? If we are unable to interrogate these things and go into it and look at the pros and cons, and look at the policy fallouts, and look